Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture.
And I'm Andy Murray from What Culture, and today we're going to cover a bunch of relevant topics to the ongoing hashtag Speaking Out movement before moving on to some other wrestling stories as well. But let's kick things off by talking about Joey Ryan and Impact Wrestling. Their working relationship appears to be over. This is according to a new report from PW Insider, saying that Impact are likely done booking Joey Ryan following his name coming up multiple allegations as part of the ongoing Speaking Out movement. Impact are yet to release a statement on Ryan specifically, but they have said the following on what's been going on over the past few days. It is a core value of the Anthem organisation that we conduct our business with respect and integrity, providing a safe and secure work environment for our employees and performers. Now, Ryan's name has come up a lot, particularly over the past 24 hours. Number of different people have levied allegations against him on social media and various other platforms. He has now taken the step of deleting his personal Twitter account, Facebook page, and the Twitter and Facebook pages for Bar Wrestling, which was his promotion. He had previously issued a statement on the matter, but those are now gone. They're lost to the ether because he's deleted his platforms and stuff. It's just a really, really tough situation to pick apart and analyze and so forth. But Impact Wrestling have taken that step. Joey Ryan appears to be done. We will probably get some kind of official confirmation from Impact at some point.
Yeah, of course, as with all these stories regarding the Speaking Out movement, we are basically just going to report the facts, the allegations, and the responses to those allegations. It's not really a space that myself or Andy are going to speculate on anything. So we're just going to give you the stories as they are and then kind of just move on and report the rest of them because, there's no need for us to say what we think about these issues. It's fairly straightforward. And speaking of which, let's talk about the allegations towards Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, who, of course, debuted on SmackDown on Friday, defeating Intercontinental Champion AJ Styles. Bit of backlash, of course, considering the allegations that came out about Matt Riddle, although he has responded to all that. And WWE, according to Dave Meltzer on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, have apparently known of the sexual assault allegations levied against him for at least 2 years before they were made public knowledge, as part of that ongoing Speaking Out movement last week. Meltzer said he had the impression that the allegations were, quote, settled from a WWE standpoint, although he also pointed out this was the case with the Lars Sullivan message board history, with Lars, of course, being retrospectively punished once sponsors got involved. Riddle has responded to it, as I said, with legal action. There were reports that, some wrestlers involved in WWE who were a part of the allegations immediately went to speak to management about them. So interesting that these have been brought to light prior to the announcements regarding the Speaking Out movement, and interesting to see where WWE goes from here and how this story develops.
Absolutely, definitely something to follow as we progress. Progress Wrestling have announced some changes at the very top of their organisation. They tweeted the following yesterday. This is from wrestler Michael Oku, who's part of the roster there. When it comes to Progress, huge change is needed and huge change has begun. Glenn Robinson and Matt Richards are stepping away. At Vicky Haskins is involved. At Loose from Socials is involved. At James Amner is involved. And I am involved, Michael Oku. More on this tomorrow. So we're awaiting clarification of what the people who have seemingly been promoted, Vicky Haskins and co, what kind of roles they'll be playing, what Michael Oku will be doing, what the other people will be doing as well. Notable moves here, Glenn Robinson and Matt Richards. Glenn Robinson is also known as Glenn Joseph. These people were part of the ownership structure of Progress. Joseph was with the promotion for a long, long time. Came in, I believe, just after John Briley, who's still there, and Jim Smallman formed the group. Smallman works for WWE now. He's left Progress. Richards came into the ownership structure when Smallman departed. Richards, it must be mentioned, because it's kind of strange to me that he's been mentioned in this context. He's voluntarily stepped away. He's fallen out of love with wrestling as a result of all of this, so fair play to him. Joseph's name, unfortunately, has come up in a number of allegations. Now, Progress, a lot of the people who've been implicated in all of this have worked extensively with Progress. David Starr, Travis Banks, the former Progress champion, harrowing stuff. The Millie McKenzie situation coming out there. Jordan Devlin and Scotty Davis were Progress Tag Team Champions. They've been suspended indefinitely, stripped of the belts. It's clear from what had happened surrounding Progress that something needed to be done. It seems like they're doing that. We await clarification on what these new people will be doing, what the people who've been promoted will be doing to kind of enforce positive change within the promotion and indeed the wider wrestling world. When that comes, we will tell you all about it.
Yeah, more developments with the speaking out hashtag. Of course, this all began, as we mentioned, with the allegations towards David Starr, and then it sort of expanded out to cover quite a lot of British wrestling, or BritWres as it's known, and now obviously it's crossed the pond, and allegations in America are coming out. WWE champion Drew McIntyre has tweeted, we've seen quite a few high-level wrestlers respond and lend their support to the hashtag speaking out hashtag, and Drew tweeted, for those hashtag speaking out, thank you, your voices are heard, your bravery is inspiring and is forcing a positive change that will shape the landscape of this business for generations to come. I think Adam Cleary said it best on Friday, Andy Murray, when he said, look, it's incredibly difficult, but also simultaneously incredibly brave, obviously, if you've been a part of this to tell your story. But also, if you're not ready, there is nothing to say that you have to tell your story using the hashtag speaking out right now. But great to see such influential wrestlers lending their support to the victims that are bringing forward their stories, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots of horrifying stories coming out, lots of harrowing, just stuff that is very difficult to reconcile, and we are just observers, right? Can't imagine how awful this is for the people who've come out and shared their stories and so forth. Anything that can be done to enact positive change and alter this structure that has allowed for these things to happen, I think should be seen as a positive. Drew, nice to hear from him, WWE champion, former staple of the UK indie scene, big figure in ICW in particular, but he worked elsewhere as well. Dan Maloney, I should mention, has come out, indie wrestler, former NXT UK guy, or at least he was in the UK title tournament, basically vouching for Drew as like an all-round good guy. So, it seems a bit reductive to sit here and just go, hey, good for Drew and stuff when all this other stuff is going on. But, he's someone who can possibly use his platform to help move things forward. So it is what it is. Let's, it seems weird, man, pivoting over to other wrestling topics after kind of discussing this stuff. But, let's talk a little bit about The Undertaker. The Last Ride series on I almost called it Netflix, on the WWE network, dropping hints that he may well indeed be retired. I've got a couple of quotes from him from the recent episode here, saying, I believe I'm at a place now post Boneyard, which was a hellacious battle against one of the best in the business. It was a powerful moment. You don't necessarily always get those. If there was ever a perfect ending to a career, that right there was it. If Vince was in a pinch, would I come back? I would have to consider that. Never say never. But at this point in my life and my career, I have no desire to get back into the ring. A lot of people are taking this as The Undertaker has retired. We've heard all kinds of stuff surrounding this situation in the past. All kinds of whispers and rumours and innuendo, as Bruce Pritchard would say. Never really seems to come to pass. Well, but hey, this is straight from the horse's mouth, so Boneyard might be a cool moment for him to go out on. I think it was seen by most as a success, had a lot of charm to it, was a fun thing to watch. Who knows, man, that might be the end of The Undertaker. What do you reckon on this?
It's a work. It's blatantly a work. There's no way that is the retirement of The Undertaker. There would have been far more fanfare, you sense, about it. It's obviously kind of difficult. You have to take you have to take an Undertaker retirement with a pinch of salt, of course, considering what happened at WrestleMania a few years ago. Look, on the face of it, it is actually quite a wonderful send-off, isn't it? Like, a well-received match against AJ Styles on the grandest stage of them all. And it ends with him riding off, not necessarily into the sunset, but it's riding off into the night. It's a wonderful send-off. But like I said, I don't think he or WWE are going to want to end his career like that, and certainly without any, notice, without any sort of signalling to fans that this is the end. And I know he obviously said never say never. That's sort of a staple in wrestling. But I think he will have one, if not more, matches. I certainly think he is going to want to have a match in front of a crowd to have a bit of a send-off. But, we were talking about it at the time around April that this, cinematic match style could add years onto The Undertaker's career. So I, for one, am not buying it. But if it is the end for The Undertaker, what an incredible career he's had.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're probably right. It's professional wrestling after all. I would like to see him, have one last hurrah in front of a live crowd. But, at the same time, the Boneyard match was a hell of a lot of fun. If he wants to do more of those, no problem with it at all. I think they'd be cool, it'd be fun, it'd be enjoyable. But, you can never really take these WWE documentaries at face value, can you?
No, exactly. I watched Chronicle and I thought Dean Ambrose was staying with WWE, so there you go. But we have got a question about The Undertaker to come in a short while, so we'll get to that in due course. A little bit of fun on Twitter happened last night between Chris Jericho and Sasha Banks. Give you a bit of backstory to this. So, of course, AEW defeated NXT in the ratings last week, as it would be. But Mike DeZorbo shared some information that seemed to suggest that Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, Le Sex Gods versus Best Friends for that number one contender shot at the AEW Tag Team titles. That drew 706k, whilst the Women's Tag Team Championship match between Sasha Banks Bayley, Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart, that drew 757k. So Bayley and Sasha arguably outdrew Le Sex Gods. Mike Zorba pointing out these are the only two talents NXT or main roster to beat Jericho head to head. So Sasha Banks tweeted, "We're better than #Le Sex Gods." And Chris Jericho responded, "Congrats guys, proud of you, but don't forget to add that you got smoked," all caps, in the all-important 18 to 49 demo, which is what advertisers care about the most. 367k to 264k. You did good, just not good enough. Now, the WWE and AEW stands will be leaping all over this, but I sense, Andy Murray, this is just a bit of fun between fellow pros.
Just a bit of banter, isn't it? Just a bit of, just shooting barbs at each other. Maybe a little bit of in character, maybe a little bit, out of character as well. Hey man, the wrestling news cycle is kind of chaotic at the moment. And stuff like this, you can have a little smile at the end once you've, the things should never be pushed too far from the overlying topic at the moment, which is something else. But these people are just having fun.
Exactly. And long may it continue, the battle between WWE and AEW, because it's produced some very good TV in the last few weeks, and these upcoming Wednesday nights, especially the 8th of July, looks absolutely spectacular. Fighter Fest going head-to-head with a winner-takes-all NXT North American Championship, NXT Championship, double head-to-head even. Really excited to see what they do with that. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Jake, who says, in a world where Christian Edge are both cleared for one more match, would you prefer for them to have their own individual last match, have a match against each other, or team up one last time?
So, that's a really good question. That's a really great question. I'm going to speak from the teenage fan in me. Edge and Christian were my favourite tag team during that era of tag wrestling where it was them, the Dudleys and the Hardys going nuts with the crazy spot fest, plunder, mad, insane TLC ladder or whatever matches. Tapping into that, I think I'd like to see a tag match, man. I think that'd be really cool. I'd like to see the 5-second pose. I'd like to see all that nonsense. I'd like to see the big shades, the old music. Nostalgia. I'm a nostalgia fiend. Give me that. Hook me straight up. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It would also probably be a little bit better for their bodies as well, because then they're not in the ring all the time. They can tag in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, this kind of is more dependent, obviously, on Christian getting cleared than Edge. I sense, obviously, Edge is out with that horrible injury that seems to put him out for 8 months to potentially a year. Who knows? Although this is WWE, so he'll probably be back in time for SummerSlam. I'd still like to see Edge, go on a bit of a run. There's, rumours and speculation, even if it is just around What Culture Wrestling, that he could come back, win the Rumble, and challenge potentially WWE Champion Randy Orton at next year's WrestleMania to try and sort of recoup all that was lost when the fans weren't obviously allowed in the arena at WrestleMania 36. But if in terms you're going to have of an Edge and Christian thing, yeah, absolutely, I'd have a tag match. One thing I would say, as much as my brain thinks it wants to see it, I wouldn't try and recreate, Hardy's, Dudley's, and Edge and Christian. I'd just have Edge and Christian. If you can do it as safe as possible, have some sort of big banter match. Maybe with ladders in there. I realise that's incredibly risky, but put them against a young, up-and-coming tag team that you can have just great promos, as you said, in the build to it, rolling back the years, and then just a bloody enjoyable match. So I'm going to go with a tag match as well there, Andy. Second question today comes from Matt Ryan, a.k.a. Aussie Dead, on Twitter, who is talking about the Last Ride documentary, saying, after the Last Ride documentary, and if it is indeed the retirement of Undertaker, what is some of your favourite memories of the career of the dead man that distinctly stand out?
Oh, man, that's you're talking like 30 years of history, aren't you? It's kind of nuts to think about. My favourite era of The Undertaker is obviously Booger Red. And Mean Mark Cal... No, I'm being a fanny. There's a lot. There really is a lot. The Shawn Michaels matches are obvious moments. The Triple H matches following those. I like the kind of late streak era of The Undertaker. The CM Punk match is one of my favourite ones. Then you've got dopey moments like trying to embalm Steve Austin on Raw. Just silliness that, you remember from your youth. If it happened today, you're probably like, what the hell is this garbage? But back then it was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. Although a more recent one I want to go for is the Graveyard Dogs. I love that match. I thought it was brilliant. And that's something that I will always remember when I think of The Undertaker long after he is retired. So throw that in there as well. Yeah,
I too thought it was brilliant as well when the Graveyard Dogs teamed up, because it was just sort of a reminder of, there's still something there. You've kind of covered a lot of them there. I obviously adore Where To, Stephanie. That was classic. And then when he did it again to Teddy Long. And I have to give a shout out, alongside the Shawn Michaels Triple H matches, to that amazing feud he had with Batista. I think that really opened my eyes as a sort of a younger wrestling fan to just how spectacular he was. I thought those two worked so well together, and the transitions between them trying to hit tombstones on each other, and that series of matches they had was just amazing. From the moment Taker won the Royal Rumble and had that moment where the three champions were stood in the ring and he challenged Batista, from then on, really, really good stuff. But like I said, I don't believe this is the end, so we are going to hopefully have a few more matches, maybe even the Graveyard Dogs one more time. Final question today comes from Miller Smex Simlane. Apologies for absolutely butchering your Twitter name there. Who says, with his brilliant return on SmackDown, do you think Bray Wyatt needs to win the Universal title in his current Eater of Worlds persona to wipe away its stench and put him at Mick Foley status with the three personas?
Well, this is a really good question, because I'm not sure I have a particularly great stance on this. I think there's a lot more work needs to be done than just winning a belt before you wash away the stench of the Eater of Worlds. We're talking years and years of not good stuff, primarily because of the bookers, it should be noticed, and the writers and so forth. But I think it'll take a lot more than like a few weeks of TV for that to happen. And I question the decision to even bring the persona back anyway. I mean, it's only been a couple of years, a year and a half or something, since we've seen that character. It's not long enough for me. I personally wouldn't have him win the belt under that persona for that very reason. However, SmackDown has been a good show recently, so I'm open to having my mind changed. Yeah,
I think you're completely right. People are forgetting that Bray Wyatt, Eater of Worlds, was WWE champion, and whilst at the time you thought, oh, okay, he wins it in the Chamber, he goes on, of course, to defend it against Randy Orton and subsequently lose at WrestleMania. People seem to say, oh, well, that's that. There you go, that's that fixed now, and that wasn't fixed because you had maggots and worms and projections, and it was just crap, really, wasn't it? All that. So I think if I was going to predict what I thought was going to happen, I think as much as I was campaigning at the time, and there was a podcast with myself and Michael Hamlet over the weekend suggesting what we think needs to happen at SummerSlam, and on the road to that, I said I really wanted to see Sheamus versus Braun Strowman at Extreme Rules. I felt like it was just set up for that. I can see a way in which, as you say, because SmackDown's doing so well, you have the Bray Wyatt Eater of Worlds character challenge Braun Strowman at Extreme Rules. That, not he, that loses. And then you've had the Mr. Rogers and the Bray Wyatt character, and he's like, okay, now you've pissed me off. I'm getting my mate, The Fiend, in, and he comes in and destroys Braun Strowman to win the title at SummerSlam. I think basically this is leading to them putting the strap back onto Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam. So if this is a path to get there, I'm kind of okay with it. And like you say, Andy, I'm loving what they're doing on SmackDown at the moment.
It's a good-ass show, man. It's a good show. You got fun stuff going on in the Intercontinental title week. Every single week you're getting a nerd match for guys like us, and then you're getting fun angles and stories. Doesn't always hit, doesn't always connect, but, it's a good show.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and just a recommendation really, after it came out over the weekend, go and check out Chris Jericho chatting to former WWE referee Mike Chioda. It is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully some big news surrounding Mike Chioda and What Culture Wrestling coming very soon. That's all I can say for now. We had some technical difficulties, let's say, last week, but we are working on it, and as soon as we can tell you, I will bring that story to you. But for now, go and check out Chris Jericho's podcast with Mike Chioda. Listen to the Aubrey Edwards one as well, because that's fascinating too. Go and check that out. Talk is Jericho, wherever you get your podcast from. Watch there, obviously search for What Culture Wrestling. You know the deal. But yeah, can't wait to hit more from Mike Chioda now he's out of WWE, because must have so many stories to tell. And also, this is probably my last chance, so good luck to Billy Bloody Kay, Peyton Bloody Royce. It is the Iconics challenging for the Women's Tag Team Championships. 3 championship matches tonight on Monday Night Raw, in fact. Best of luck to them. Oh, Andy, how are you going to be tomorrow? Because there's going to be one of 2 Wilborns showing up, and you're going to have to deal with one of them.
I think, depending on the match result, I might take a day off.
There you have it. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Oh, there's my kit falling over. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Got too excited. My shouting, the sound waves clearly knocks my makeshift setup over here. Let us know your thoughts, as I said, in the comment section, and on Twitter, any Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy Murray. No, that's not right. At Andy H. Murray. The H stands for #SpeakingOut.
Indeed. Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at What Culture WWE, and make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling for daily wrestling podcast. Myself and the Dudley Breweries previewing Monday Night Raw a little bit later on today. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.